my hair. We are live. The handler says go live. We got Jack O'Neill here today, and we're going to be talking using our crystal ball. Our crystal ball is those of you who have been watching me for at least the last year and a half, where we kind of had a little crystal ball as to we knew exactly where we'd be right now. And now the situation, we're just doing like an update with some things that have happening, both positive and some negative things, and just kind of going over some events and things that people may not necessarily be aware of and how, to effectively maybe plan and prepare for the upcoming months as we head into the winter. So here we are. You got anything? You got any openers there, Jack? Or I want to make sure that my stuff is rolling on the channel. All right. Yeah, looks like we're going. Nothing, Jack. You gonna say hi?
Hey, can you hear me now?
Yeah, we got you.
Okay, I think I put it on mute. Hello, everyone.
All right.
So let's talk.
All right, let's talk
crypto fiasco, baby.
You want to talk crypto fiasco?
Sure.
We can do crypto fiasco. Let me pull up.
What's up, Justin?
Let me pull up my other channel here.
Go ahead.
And we'll take a look at, let's see which one. I didn't expect to jump into crypto right away, but here we are. We got the current crypto prices live. And as we know, today was a special day in crypto. Anyone who knows about that, where El Salvador gave the big old bird to the IMF and the Federal Reserve and everybody else playing with their money and said, no, we're going to do Bitcoin. And that is just what we are going to do. And El Salvador is, of course, in huge debt with the IMF, just like everybody else is. So they're trying to play ball, and because they're doing this Bitcoin thing, the IMF is not very pleased with them. And what the IMF decided to do today to mark their the go live date for El Salvador, where everyone actually gets real sound hard money and they don't have to use that crappy stuff with all seeing eyes written all over it. They decided to drop $2 billion worth of Bitcoin onto the market that washed out all of the people who were betting that Bitcoin would go up in price, and also triggered stop losses. This is when people set up little brackets in their portfolio that say, well, if the price ever goes down to this, I want you to automatically sell so that I'm not losing all of my money. But what happens then is you drop, the market drops enough and it triggers sell orders, and it just cascades all the way down. And this was done by the IMF. We'll get to that part where we show that, but $2 billion. So we go from 52,700 from Bitcoin all the way down to 42,000 in about 5 minutes.
Wow.
About 5 minutes, right? And then, of course, it bounced back up to 47,000. I don't know where we're at right now. 47,391. So the people, and nobody sold, right? The people who are into Bitcoin have been here for a while, and they're like, yeah, whatever. It just gives me more opportunity to buy more. And that's what the people who are holding right now in cryptocurrency, that's what we're doing. Let me see if I can find actually that there's a tweet from the guy who runs El Salvador, El Presidente, out there. If I can figure out, I'm not a Twitter person, right? So I don't really know what I'm doing on Twitter.
Yeah, I don't do that.
So it takes me a second to find it. So when this was going on, when Bitcoin lost $10,000 off the spot price,
wow,
the president of El Salvador at the same time said, buying the dip. And he's got a little wink emoji on there.
Appreciate it, guys.
Exactly. 150 new coins added. So he bought 150 Bitcoin at like 40,000 a piece instead of 50,000 for the people, so he can give them to his citizens. In El Salvador, they're going live with their Chivo app and their Bitcoin, and they're giving everybody in El Salvador $30, which in El Salvador is a lot of money.
Yes, it
The
is.
average yearly wage, or the yearly income, I believe, is around $4,000 American in El Salvador. So $30 is pretty good. And that allows him to give away more money. And then after that, he tweets, "It appears the discount is ending," with a little tear emoji. "Thanks for the dip, IMF news." He tweeted it at the IMF. "We saved $1 million in printed paper." And El Salvador now holds 550 Bitcoin. So this is a win. This is a win for freedom.
Absolutely.
This is a win for crypto. This is a win for everything. And now, of course, I mean, the market goes down, but I have been talking about Bitcoin and putting money into that, and especially when it was at 30K and 32K. It's like, if you get in at 32K, do you care it goes from 50 to 42? Not really.
Nope.
It's going back up. You're still up on the game. And it's just about, putting a little bit of money in there to hedge against the inflation and hedge against the dollar. And it's betting against the World Bank. Okay. What's better than betting against the World Bank? Nothing. Nothing is better than betting against the banks.
Worthless fiat.
Yeah, I mean, it has value now as long as people accept it, but we're getting to the point where it's not going to be accepted by places. I mean, the only benefit we have now with the American dollar is the fact that our dollar is worth more than everybody else's crappy fiat dollars.
Right.
That's really about it. But
no one changes value.
Guys, Russia is going to use Bitcoin to buy oil. China's got deals where they're buying aircraft fuel and things like that using Bitcoin and other currencies, and they're moving off the dollar standard. There's a reason they call it the petrodollar. It's because we're the ones who instituted that. That's how everybody uses our currency, because they all need gas and they all need it from Saudi Arabia and the Middle Eastern countries. And hey, if they're Saudi Arabia and those guys are making deals that they'll take Bitcoin or they'll take the Chinese yuan instead of US dollars, then that's nails, the first couple of nails or the last couple of nails, or
in the coffin.
It's a lot of nails, man. It's a lot of nails.
Down with tyranny.
That's what's going on with crypto. And if you guys are involved in any way with it, just know that right now things are on sale. All right. There's a lot of good projects. Solana, I will say, is one of those projects that even with Bitcoin going down by $10,000 and bouncing back up, Solana through the whole thing went down, of course, but it ended and finished after that whole thing at like up 10 or 15%. So there's some good stuff up there, and you can get a lot of the top cryptos that are worth something, in the top 50 at a decent deal, probably still right now. Now, I will say, a caveat to that is that typically when they decide to rig the market and do these mass drops, they usually do it in twos. Okay, so wait till tomorrow, maybe.
Right.
Because they usually wait until overnight in the middle of the night when the market is weak and there's no trading volume to then try and follow up to push it down a little more. So, they're trying to recoup some of that Bitcoin they just burned, giving it away to El Salvador and everybody who has buy orders put in to buy Bitcoin on the cheap. Right. So, and just look out for that. But know that it's a rigged game, and it's not. When the market crashes like that, it's a rig, and that it's manipulation. It doesn't matter, because that means the market is still good. Just because they want to play around, just be aware of it. The market is still fine. Nothing bad has happened to it. It's more bullish than ever. So that is what's going on with all of that. Hi, Victoria. Hi, Josh, Justin. We'll continue on now, and then we're going to get into what's actually going on with cooties according to the actual from the horse's mouth. Okay. And this has been an ongoing deal where actual, real, true information comes out about case numbers and about whether or not these supposed snake oils that they want to shoot into people are actually doing anything, and all sorts of stuff. And it seems like the people who really want to wear the ball gag just don't want to listen to what the actual truth is about anything, even when it comes from the 5 o'clock news. Even when it comes from the CDC themselves. The CDC themselves say that the ball gag doesn't protect you against anything. But then in their recommendations, their one little bullet point, 5-point recommendations, it recommends masks on public transportation. And it's like, well, wait, if I go to this page, it says that they don't do anything.
Double speak.
So what's exactly? Yeah. Obviously, you have you have the New World Order guy who's in charge of the bullet points, and then the actual researchers that are in charge of gathering data. And so that's what's going on. So we're going to go. This is very recent. I looked this up a couple of days ago. So what do they say here? This is the entire time from February basically until now. They say they have 120 million infections, 101 million symptomatic illnesses, which these two would share. So basically they've got 120 million people with colds, things that could be something because they don't know. They also admit that they can't test for it. So
bingo.
I don't know. But now we're getting the hospitalizations now. Right. Now the hospitals are jam-packed with people who are, according to the 6 o'clock news, 20 times more likely to get sick if you have had the gene therapy, according to your 6 o'clock news. I wonder why the hospitals are packed. I wonder.
Go figure.
I wonder. Here's my favorite one right here. Estimated total deaths is 767,000 in a 2-year period.
It's a low number.
I mean, in a 2-year period. I mean, and these are estimated. These are, that people are riding their motorcycles into trees and getting put on there as having cooties, right? We know that. But even if it was legitimate, 100% legitimate, that's like less than 1% maybe or something. I have the math as we go through the state data.
Okay, good.
I love this data and surveillance. It's yeah, I bet you're surveilling.
Right. Get on the train.
Where I want to go. We're gonna go to like one of these. We're gonna deal with Minnesota, and this is, what do we have for the time? I have this one set up as being the deaths since January 21st, 2020. So this is all the way up until now. All of the deaths in just about 2 years. Total deaths 7,937 in Minnesota in 2 years. So they say total deaths per 100,000 is 140. So what I have here is this fun little thing. So they said 200 and what deaths here? 140 per 1,000. So we'll go up to our percentage calculator. So it's 140 per 100,000, and then you calculate that. So your odds of dying from the cooties is 0.14%, and that's according to the official numbers.
Right.
That seems like it's incredibly safe. It seems like almost like taking a bath might be more dangerous, right? In 100,000
by lightning.
Well, it's not quite that, because I did look up that. That's 1 in 3 million. But like,
yeah, I've seen different reports.
I gotta think that people taking baths and drowning in the bathtub for whatever reason would probably take out more people. So that's 0.14%. And given the color indication for the state, it's actually like in the ooh territory. Ooh, right? And of course, they always want to talk about cases this and cases that. But this is the thing that I thought was very interesting. And I don't know if people in the chat know anything about this, but they're saying that like 70% of the people are vaccinated in this. Do you think that's right?
Doubt it. No,
I don't think so.
You're not stretching it.
It says here 206 million people have at least one dose of the gene therapy, and that's 62% of the population. Is that just, do you guys out there? I'm a sheltered boy. I'm really sheltered. But I know the people that I work with, there's no way 60% of the people that I work with have gotten the gene therapy. And then they say 175 million got both. I know that's wrong. We got to think of this too, is that the largest generation is the Generation Z or whatever that starts from 1981, right after the Gen Xers. They're the largest group of people right now.
Yes, the good old days.
So it's not like these are all boomers in homes. Okay. They're not the largest generation anymore. It's the really young people. And as far as I know, the people did anybody? I mean, obviously some kids got vaccinated, but like under 16, There's nobody doing anything, except you have the overbearing parents or whatever that are going to force that stuff. But that's a pretty large chunk of people too.
Sure.
I don't know, man. I don't know. Did you get yours? I meant to get mine, but boy, the line was so long. The line was so long. Is it like out of my town?
Never going to happen.
Yeah, like 5,000 people, 5,500 people in my town. Yeah, there was nobody at the little jab sites, right?
Yeah.
Occasionally,
very few here.
Occasionally, I've overheard like one or two people at the old grocery store, because I got the pharmacy and all that there, ask about it. But yeah, I don't know. I think that's some funny stuff going on with those numbers.
Yeah, I think it's all sleight of hand. It's definitely people are under a spell. There's magic involved. People can argue that all they want, but I'll argue it doesn't even exist, because you start studying Coe's postulates, you get into the theories. It's very interesting. If they've lied about this, that, and the other, you start really delving into history.
Yeah.
It makes you really think. So, no, I don't trust it at all. None of it. So, prove to me. If it hadn't been isolated, so to speak, then what are we talking about? Diseases that's been around since day one.
Sure.
In 2020, 14 people died from the common flu. That's an impossibility.
And there seems to be a wild variation going from places that don't do anything with this and places that are very overbearing, like New York and other places. So just for the heck of it, I had looked up Mexico per 100,000, and it says there's 10 per 100,000 in Mexico. There's a lot of people in Mexico. Right. I don't know if you guys realize this, but in my state of Minnesota, with like 5 million people, it's 140 per 100,000, according to their numbers, and that was 0.14%. So all of Mexico, we've got 10 per 100,000, and that is 0.01%.
Yeah. Again, and shut the whole world down the same day for something that affects barely 1% of the population. Are you kidding me?
And the symptoms are a sniffle.
Right.
That even seems low for a sniffle. You'd think if it was, yeah. But if you take on like all the numbers for all of the US and all of everything, it's 0.03%. And that's, I think, the numbers that I quoted way back a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
And when the first numbers came out, it was about the same.
Was it
Maybe shut everything down.
Sure. We have one case in this district. Shut it all down.
Yeah. Insane. And of course, like the places like Florida, they say are really bad. And then when you actually look them up, there's really nothing much of anything going on.
No, I have a lot of friends there, and they'll tell you what's up. So yeah, just
well, that's good.
Propaganda, sure.
And just like, this information is right there on the internet, and
sure, they have to put it out there. They have to put the facts out.
It's like, I mean,
who's looking though? Who thinks about it? Just watch CNN, you'll be fine.
They have total deaths at 644,000, and it's like out of 300 something million people over 2 years.
Yeah, it's an extreme pandemic.
I think I did the math on that. So that's your 0.03%.
Right.
And yeah, but of course, if you click it from deaths and you click it to cases, then you've got millions upon millions. It's the 40 million cases. According to this, almost more than 1 in 10 people are a case.
Right.
Does everybody know at least a few people who are considered a case? Or does everybody know at least one person who said, well, I was exposed to somebody who said they had it. So that's more likely, right?
Right. I've heard that from 2 people in the past.
The cases. Think of the cases. Oh, look at that. In Florida, no new cases. Imagine that. All the places where they said, nah, we're not going to play your New World Order crap anymore. No new cases.
Interesting how that works, huh?
Yep. No new cases. Well, and then they call them they're in the dark blue, or it's the oh no stage.
You got it.
But no new cases. No new cases in Nebraska. Of course, Minnesota. Yeah, of course we got a bunch there. Yeah, and
It's
we
sad. It really
we
is.
get started on Minnesota, of course Washington, yeah, and California.
What's up, Amy?
But so we all know what the truth of this thing is after unfolding for a year and a half, 2 years. But
Absolutely.
that does not stop. I mean, this really is more or less, even if you know that this whole thing is a complete scam, it affects everything else because they're using it to reset the system, and they're purposefully going out and using it as an excuse to say, oh, well, we just can't keep ketchup and toilet paper in stock. It's the supply chain because of cooties. And that's not the case at all. That is not the case at all. I wanted to get into this. If anybody else has heard about it, I know I'm sure everybody has noticed when they go to the store and they want to go buy something and they notice the shelves are a little bare, or they want to go, get a donut at the gas station and they don't
couldn't
have
find my blueberry Pop Tarts today.
Yeah, Jack couldn't find his blueberry Pop Tarts, and I clearanced them out. Anyways,
oh man,
you go to get the donut and they don't have the wax paper for you to grab the donut, right? Really weird stuff like that places seem to be out of. It's on back order. They get a lot of stuff is on back order. Where I work, I overheard the guy who was the supply guy say he ordered, I think, $37,000 worth of stuff for the store, and he only received 13,000 of it just a couple of weeks ago.
Wow.
And he was asking his boss what he's supposed to do with, because he doesn't have enough stuff to even keep the end caps stocked. Right. And people who don't know, end caps, a store like a grocery store is just a shelf space. They don't, the actual merchants come in there, like Doritos comes in there and they stock the shelves. They're the ones who do everything.
That's it, man.
And those end caps, that's how the store makes money, is those end caps are all purchased by these various different vendors. And these vendor guys are like, they're ordering stuff straight from their supplies, and they can't get their own stuff, and it's probably because the ink for the bag, is on a boat somewhere and stuck in the harbor. And they're blaming all that stuff on cooties. And these are the things that are going on. I mean, obviously there's the computer chips and things like that, particularly graphics chips that would go in cars, and your laptop computers and things, because everyone's working from home. So everyone got new computers, other reasons, but all of the chips come from China. It's like over 85% come from like 1 to 2 manufacturers that are merging.
Yep.
So we got some supply chain issues there. And then China, wants to punch America in the face and say, oh, one of our employees might have cooties, and so we're going to shut down the ports for a couple of weeks. In a place where 100,000 people work, one guy who was jabbed might have a sniffle, and we're going to shut the place down. And, they did that on purpose, obviously, because the longer that they can put the supply chain strain on America, the more they're going to make for their products. Okay. That's all there is to it. Nothing else. And it serves a dual purpose, because we're all under the grand world order thing. Both the companies themselves, they get to make profit and think, oh, wow, we're really putting the squeeze on people. And really, though, it's all just part of the plan. Okay. It's all part of the plan. And so what we have here is that Los Angeles port has been in the news because, look at this, 33 cargo ships. This is how you know that it's garbage. It was the very first link. It was the very first link when I went to search this stuff. But as you go down, you find out it's not 33, it's 66. Right? But anyways, the point is that there's all sorts of container ships from China that are sitting outside ports, and they're saying the port is just overflowing. We don't have enough manpower. We don't have the ability to move the stuff off the ship, so the ships have to sit out at sea. It's like, that's not what's going on. Where did they build all these ships from? Where did they invent an extra 10% ships where they can have an extra 20, 30 million containers come in? Where did these ships come from? As everybody knows, it's a revolving door, right? The ships come in, you unload them, the ships go back with cargo. This is how this stuff works. When you have ships just sitting out in the bay, it's because they're told to sit out in the bay. That's just what is going on. and they don't care about money. They don't care about money being lost. But anyways, we'll look at
Right.
the ports. They say, oh, they're so overdone, and we don't have enough people, and we don't have supply containers to actually send the ships back out, and all this stuff. And if you look at their numbers, of course, in what they're doing, up here in August 21st, they have 2,370,000 shipping containers, and they say this is way more than we've ever done before, and this is unbelievable. But yeah, I mean, if you go, back to March, it was the exact same.
Right.
And then if you go back to October of last year, it was exactly the same. So
there you go.
It's all exactly the same, but now we have boats that are sitting in the harbor.
Dun.
What does this mean for people? It means that prices, for things, while things are on the shelves, depending on what they are, and it's hard to really track unless you really research. If there's something that you need to buy that probably comes from China, you should probably try and figure out a way to get that. Because that's what's going on with supply chain. And you never know what's going to be affected. Because like I said, I couldn't buy guitar strings because the chemical polymer that they put on the strings themselves, whatever item they needed for that, they couldn't get. And it's probably sitting on a boat out in LA Harbor. That's how this stuff works. So yeah, and then they say in the news headlines, in order to push this narrative, in Forbes, it says the top ranked port of Los Angeles is growing 48% faster, right? Because of all this extra traffic. They're trying to drive this narrative, and it's just not there. You look at the actual Port Harbor statistics from the Wall Street Journal, and yeah, they're up a little bit, but other than that, they're basically the same. Jack got booted. Now he's back.
What's up?
You got booted, and now you're back. For whatever reason.
Yeah, I felt that. I have no clue. Go ahead.
So yeah, anyways, we can very clearly see that in May 21, it was 2,331,000. And now they're saying, oh, we've got 30,000 more containers, and now we're just so backlogged. We don't know what we're going to do. It's ridiculous.
Sure it is.
The entire system, like I said, it takes years to build these container ships. Do you think that they just pulled some out of dry dock to fill them up to send over here? I mean, no. It's obviously a revolving door. And if anything, they're completely caught up with more than ever because they shut the ports down in China for a couple of weeks, right? So the whole thing is smoke and mirrors. Complete smoke and mirrors. And now we have this. Unemployment benefits to end, of course. I still don't believe they're going to do that, but whatever. So the free money is going to end. You're going to have supply chain problems, and of course, food is going up by inflation rate 15% or so, and so that is what's going on. What do you think about all that, man?
You know where I stand on it. Have no fear. Live your life. Right. Invest wisely. Stock up on things that you normally don't even think about. There's a lot of good channels if anybody wants to know. It comes down to relying on the Lord, but he gives you a mind to use. It's like I carry a weapon. Some people will argue that. That's fine. But there's no argument. That's real clear in Scripture. If you don't have a means to protect you and your own, you're pretty much as an infidel. It's like supplying for your family. That goes under the same category. There's a fine line in prepping, but I think most of us in this community get it. Yeah. If you have common sense, do what you need to do. Yep, because look, I was just like Max and most other people. I assumed that all this was going to fall apart a lot sooner. I really did. And we don't know what the future holds. How much worse it can get? Well, I mean, hey, we all know. But we're going to suffer here. That's Scripture. Period. So be prepared, and he'll take care of the rest of it. But do your part.
Oh, I'd like to get some of these signs and wonders so we could know exactly. It's like, oh, we are. This isn't just a precursor. We're actually there. We can actually talk about what's going on in Israel too on that. But this is what we kind of wanted to talk about today. Is like I've been saying, you find a good deal on food and stuff, and I just said if you need something from China, I said that last year too. It turns out I was a year and a half ahead of time.
Yep.
But
time travel.
Yeah. If you need stuff from over there, you should probably look at getting it. And confirmation from the different channels that I watch, and people want to know where I get my information. I get my information from people who are smarter than me. It's what you should do. All right.
They don't exist.
You
Max,
don't,
you know
you
that.
don't, well, it's what you should do. Not somebody who is going to do a confirmation bias sort of a thing. I mean, sure, it's good to agree with them, but they should have aspects of expertise in things or knowledge of things that you just don't have. Like I understand many a years in grocery, man. I understand that real good. I understand a lot about crypto and I understand a lot about the Bible. Well, one of the guys that I listen to who does primarily real estate has friends that are in the shipping and receiving with boats and things like that, saying that the person was told who works there that they can expect to be behind for like up to 5 years on some of these things, which is like 5 years. How long are you going to park those boats out there? I mean, that's ridiculous. In 5 years,
whatever
in 5 years, you can't figure out how to get boats in and out of there. It's like most of these things, if you guys aren't aware of the ports operate so rhythmically machine-like because they are all run on computers. It's computers and cranes that are unloading and reloading these boats, and everything works just like an assembly line. To where, like, if something slows down, it's like the whole system will break because everything is designed to go bop, 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 you know? And 5 years. Now, on the other side of things in electronics with the video chips and the video cards and the computer stuff, the prices for these things are outrageous. My card is worth 4 times what I paid for it 4 years ago used. So I paid $300 for it. I may have even paid $250 because it was on special.
Yep.
And I can sell that now for $900. Okay. Because there is no supply. There is none. There is no supply. They all got to go into Teslas or something. I don't know. But those people straight from the manufacturer's mouth are saying that it's going to be at least another year or two before
it's Eli's fault. It's Eli's fault.
It's going to be at least another year or two before those particular things are back up to where they need to be. And how that's going to affect regular laptops and desktops, I don't know, but it can't be good, right?
Right, I agree. Be high prices.
I don't know. All I know is the stuff that I want to buy, I got to pay an arm and a leg for, and I like it.
Right, H&K lumber.
There you go.
Yep.
So those are the kinds of things that are going on, and what the plan is. Okay, it doesn't mean it's going to happen. I'm saying this is the plan.
Right.
So when you see these things of people saying, you know, rumors of wars, you'll call it, where you say, oh, the ports are backed up because of cooties, and this because of cooties, and that because of, that's what they're trying for. Okay, they're trying for all of these things and hoping that they land one of them, but it doesn't. It doesn't mean that that's the way it has to be. And if
it's what the Lord's willing to allow.
Yeah, and if the last year
under judgment. I mean, you've talked about that. A lot of people.
Oh, right. Well, we're gonna talk about that. We're gonna get to Israel because I want to talk about that.
Go ahead, man.
So during the last year and a half, you know, in the beginning, when all this stuff started, there was some idea of whether or not it was actually anything real or not, and it was like, okay, it could be real, and it seems very overblown, and it seems like they're testing a program or something, and then you come to find out that it's a Rockefeller plan that's been put in place since 2010, and it's like, oh. Well, here we go. And I said, guys, this is being financed until 2025. I don't know if you guys, I said that it's being financed until 2025 by the World Bank. Right. That is who is running this stuff. So I said, you need to figure out, you know, your little bit of prepper stuff here and there. And just so you're set up to maintain and sustain through these times. And it's the same now as it was a year and a half. Reduce your reliance on the government, whatever it happens to be, or reduce your reliance on supply chains. You do that by buying a little bit extra when it's on sale or clearance. You know, be ready to protect yourself because they were shutting down the police departments a year and a half ago.
Take care, Victoria.
For any reasons, you know. So you may want to purchase maybe a little maybe a little cap gun or something. You know, just go pop, pop, pop.
Freedom seeds.
There you go. And you know, I was going to say, as far as the money goes, you know where that's going. And I'm only going to say Bitcoin as far as anything for crypto. I mean, there's a whole rabbit hole you can go down with that, but
Absolutely.
Bitcoin is the standard. And if you don't believe me, ask Goldman Sachs.
Yep. Look at the world stage.
Ask all of the big banks. They're all the reason that they're manipulating the market is so you can accumulate more, all that. You want to be on the winning team with that because they're not going to be using the Federal Reserve garbage. I mean, they use that to manipulate stuff so they can accumulate and collect more Bitcoin. But on top of that, there are other things you can invest in that are going to be worth a lot too. I mean, silver right now is cheap, especially with the manipulation in Bitcoin today.
Yeah,
that apparently
purchasing some more.
And buy the real stuff. Go to the actual coin place or the jeweler or wherever and buy, a few silver dollars or something. And that's a good thing. And then of course, at the old firearms and the old pew, pew, pow, pow, those go up in value. The more every time they pass any sort of crazy law that takes people's freedoms away, the guns go up. Guns will go up. The number one gun selling president ever was Barack Obama. As he wanted to do all these crazy things, and it's like, all the guns flew off the shelves and all the ammo. And
I agree. No doubt.
So those are things. So you got anything to add to that?
Water purification.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Bleach stores up for about liquid bleach for maybe 6 months. Look into water purification tablets. Military uses. It's readily available. It's real cheap.
Get yourself a ProPure.
That's it. Just pick one up. So
they changed the name to something else.
If
you look up ProPure, it will still come up, but
you're right.
They changed the name to something else.
Yeah.
But those are gravity. You don't need power to work those. They take fluoride out of the water.
Gravity. What is gravity?
Gravity. I don't know what else to call it. What would you call it? Because
ether fed.
Ether fed. Oh man, that's perfect. See, this is why you're the handler and I'm just the dude.
I don't know what you're talking about.
The ether fed. Gosh, that's probably right. That's probably
a good name for a band, wouldn't it?
Yeah, there probably already is one. But anyways, it works regardless of the shape of the earth. And even if you believe in the spinning, gyrating, goofy nonsense, it still works. You don't need power, and you can throw swamp water in it, and it's all good.
You got it.
The
portable straws.
That
you can buy. Yeah, got a couple of those. They're cheap.
That's if you're in Israel and you got to run to the mountains, then you need one of those.
Flee if you're in Judea, right? And look out for the meteorites.
Yeah. What do you got?
Well, okay, Eli. I know about the trigger. I've actually put my hands on one from a friend that, of course, lost his in a boating accident as well.
Yeah.
That trigger rocks, man. It's on point. It's brilliant. A little expensive for me, but it's nice. Real nice.
Yeah. Well, I was using the ProPure for 10 going on 10 years now.
Oh wow. Okay.
Because I bought one in the Alex Jones phase of my life when I was figuring stuff out and listening to David Icke, reading my Bible, and I was a hardcore Seventh-day Adventist. And I bought that thing, and I've been using it ever since.
It's worth the money.
The filters last for like 20,000 gallons. I mean, It's like buy filters every year or two. And
right.
So we've got that, still use that. And then a couple of years ago, I found that they were selling one that will take fluoride out of the water for underneath your sink. And they were selling the whole kit for like $25.
No
and I was looking, I was looking up replacement filters for that. At the time, they were like $19.99. No, they were $19.99 for the replacement. Recently, I looked up, and of course, it's coming from China. Prices have doubled. But
of course,
even still,
that's pretty good. I spent maybe $300 4 years ago on an under sink system, similar.
Yeah, well, you have like
reverse osmosis.
Yeah, you have reverse osmosis. Those are still $300.
Right.
I'm talking about just a filter that just does cold water and whatever does the fluoride. I don't know. It's better than nothing.
Right.
And, but yeah, you can. I mean, at $50 or something for something that fits under your sink and installs in like 10 minutes. You can't go wrong because the big ProPures, the filters themselves are $150. So those get kind of pricey. But
Oh yeah.
it's worth it to keep yourself safe, and at least have a good water supply when you need it. Because I wouldn't trust the stuff in the bottles. I wouldn't trust the stuff in the bottles. I brought up baby water the other day. Yeah, it's like distilled water with fluoride in it, and it's like, well, why did you wreck it?
Yeah, no doubt.
It's baby water for fluoride for their teeth they don't have. That makes sense. With my shot, with the line for the shot, with the line, donut for my shot.
Nobody needs to know how to use the pineal gland. Just calcify it.
Half my face don't work.
It's sad, man.
It is, but it's also kind of funny. I feel bad for people I do, but standing back from it, when I'm not watching the tragic videos, I'm like,
cue up the circus music.
Oh,
Cut up your heels, man. Get on the red slippers, because
that's what does it. They put they go through those things, and then to get the emotional reaction, they put the little sad puppy pound music in the background. And you're like, oh, poor Janine, she lost. Oh, it was terrible with the vac stuff. But if they didn't have the music in the back, I'd be like, what are you, dumb? You're supposed to be a nurse. I mean, like, you're supposed to know this stuff. And yeah. So,
what do you think? Heroes to this year's zeros.
What do you think about what's going on there in Israel, huh?
I know the Lord's very angry. And you reap what you sow, man. You reap what. It's the most hedonistic country in the world. Period.
Yeah. So for people who don't know, there are several countries out there, of course, Australia, New Zealand, as being like kind of like the cooties on steroids, Gestapo, and quite literally what we have now is an extermination of the Israeli people again. And but I'm a bad man. I'm a bad man for relating unjabbed people to the World War II Israel people. I'm the bad man. It's going on right now, guys. It's going on right now. The most vaccinated people in the world are the people over there in Israel. And they're up to getting six-week booster shots or something like this. I don't know, something like that.
Incredible. Yes, sir. And this supposed variant, who knows about that? It's interesting about the shedding thing, but supposedly their hospitals are at full capacity as well. So,
well, I don't doubt it. After getting all them jabs, I mean, of course.
Sure. Absolutely.
Okay, this is 17 hours ago. Let's see if it'll let me actually be on here. Former leader on vax now focusing on boosters to protect the vulnerable after cases rose to a record. Okay, these people are aware of the fact that you're 20 times more likely if you have taken any of the jabs before to get sick with Delta. And now you need to get the booster. It's like,
I mean, geez.
Didn't those other 3, 4, 5 shots, didn't they work? What are you needing a booster for? I mean, obviously anybody on the outside looking in goes, well, these guys are just dumb or something. I mean,
where's the logic?
I'm guessing
follow the science.
I'm guessing they're forced into it, and a lot of the people in Israel are kind of pretend Jews.
Yeah,
I don't think the real ones are taking all that stuff. But there is a lot of people dying, and it seems very focused. I mean,
ethnic cleansing much?
It's got to be Rothschild.
It's apartheid.
Well, it's got to be Rothschild. He was going after him, and with Hitlerio, he was going after him then. It's got to be him.
You got it.
It's like the people over there just not see what's going on.
That's all part of the spell, I guess. I don't know. There's different ways to word that, but we all know that's clear in Scripture too. There's a lot of passages that cover the way the mental state is with people.
It says the nation of 9 million became the test case for reopening society and economy in April, when much of Europe and the U.S. were still in some form of lockdown. Do you think they're trying to bring that down to 3 million? Maybe. Is that the magic number? I mean, I don't get it.
3.3, 0.6, maybe. It's a sad state of affairs, though.
Israel now shows how the calculus is changing in places where progress the fastest is no longer just about whether people get it, But how badly they get it, that's always the thing. It's like, oh yeah, my face doesn't work and I can't walk, but it would have been really bad if I didn't get the gene therapy. Just think.
Whew.
There's people that have said that and died later too.
Sure, a lot.
There was a person who died. It was a radio talk show host guy who said he wasn't ever going to get it, and he got it and died.
Yeah, I read that.
And the person's wife came out and said, this just shows the danger of not getting jabbed. And they're like, the guy's dead.
There's no correlation. I mean,
they were trying to say that if he would have gotten jabbed earlier, that he wouldn't have had it as bad or something.
Yeah.
He's dead.
Slower, maybe. Maybe he would have lived another 6 days. Who knows?
I don't know. A lot of ever since they declared, which they apparently didn't declare, they sort of approved, sort of not approved, sort of out the side of their mouth that the FDA approved this stuff, which means it's a good thing because it means that actually the government has to track all of everything. It's part of their job and their duty, and regular normal people who work their 9 to 5s, it's their job and their butt on the line if they don't have accurate stuff and accurate good reports to give to the government.
In theory.
Well, apparently they didn't. Apparently they didn't approve it, or what?
Okay, they didn't. Come to find out.
Okay, sure. As long as they don't die, as long as they don't die within 2 weeks of getting the jab, then we won't count it as a vaccine. It's not within the 2 weeks or the 45 days. It's probably unrelated.
Where's the monetary recourse? There is none.
Well,
Where's the justice system? There
is individually, and we can talk about. We can go back to the abortion case where it's like you just make it so that the government means you have to hear these cases when people sue you, and the judge is not allowed to throw them out. That's a pretty big hit, I mean,
sure, that's back to we're a nation of laws, not science.
Well, there isn't any science in this nation.
You got that right, pseudo. But like me and you discussed, I've done my paperwork and I've done it due diligently. Proper steps. It's all about the legalese and proper way of handling things.
Yeah.
Like where I work, I can't really go into too much detail, but it's like it's coming down the pike. I see it, so it's like, okay, if you can guarantee my safety 100%.
Yeah, exactly.
You're liable for that.
Mm-hmm.
Then I have no problem with that. If you can't, that's on you.
Yeah.
Period. So I don't worry about it, but I'm not going to walk away. I'm going to be forced out of my job. So later down the road, if things do tend to plan out and get somewhat better, don't know, then that's legal recourse right there.
Yeah. And this all kind of depends. Everyone's in obviously a different situation, and it's because we're in fascism land. It tends to be corporation by corporation can kind of inflict whatever sort of garbage that they want to on the people, and if people don't fight it, then that just becomes the way that it is.
You got it.
And if you live in a particularly communistic neighborhood or a particularly communistic state, they'll accept it. They will accept complete tyranny from a job they work at minimum wage for, because they just think that's just how it's supposed to be. They don't know any better.
Right.
And
absolutely, Max.
And they say, in a lot of cases, the state will support these fascist companies because that's a lot of tax revenue. And then like some of these guys like Walmart are involved in that, the whole global system.
Sure.
Okay.
It's government owned.
So they're going to back them in some cases, but you want to go to some place like Florida, they ain't going to get backed. You want to go to Texas, they're not backing any of that stuff. You put up a little bit of a fight. I mean, if you're in those places, maybe get out of the cities.
Right.
And it's only a matter of time. They didn't have the riots this summer. I thought for sure they would, but
yeah, me too.
It's only a matter of time. They'll bring back George Floyd and dig him up and be like, oh, see, remember white man bad. Remember? It's going to be one thing after the next.
Right.
And it's going to be war at some point, because America can't just sit here and do nothing when everybody breaks away from the dollar. They're going to, unless maybe that's the plan.
Sure.
But typically we would have already declared war on like Russia or something, or been mad at Saudi Arabia, because
That's right.
we have a deal, right?
Right.
We've been protecting Saudi Arabia for 75 years.
Yep.
All of those rich princes, we made them rich.
That's true.
America made them rich.
Absolutely.
And they're just going behind our back and selling their stuff for Bitcoin instead of US dollar. It's like, hey, we had an agreement. But that's in the way that the world is supposed to work according to what people believe, right? That's not in the actual way that people, it's not the actual way the world works. What are you, crazy? Nah.
Inversion.
Nah.
More corporate greed control. And Eli, that's absolutely right about the boost. Yeah. Death by 1,000 cuts, man. That's when I bring up the fifth generation warfare. It's all psychological. Everything's psychology.
Well, the people beg for it themselves.
Sure they do. Absolutely. Absolutely. It's pathetic.
Well, the saddest part is that the older generations are not sharing any knowledge with the younger generations. And maybe it was before that, I think there was some of that, because my dad is not part of the boomer generation. And I learned.
Yeah, we've talked a lot about
everything.
Silent generation. Yeah, my dad taught me a lot too.
Everything useful in my life has come in some way, shape, or form with just watching him and working with him. And he was a craftsman. He worked on engines. He did hydraulics. We had a hobby farm. We did all this stuff. And he didn't ever attempt to really teach me, but he was there just doing stuff. And I think the generation after that didn't do much because they were rich. They were so rich.
Buicks.
And they're giving me $30 an hour to work at the fruit stand. And yeah, you're just going to hire an immigrant to go do all the stuff for you while you watch television, because that's just how it is. And you never learn to do anything because you're babied your entire life. And I'm not saying that's everybody. I'm just saying that is a large portion. And you have a large portion of that group that says, I'm leaving nothing behind. And it's like, bye. And, really, the saddest thing is not the proliferation of information, especially when it comes to flat earth, because they used to teach that in school. And those people are just died like 15 years ago. It's like, why didn't you tell anybody? Why didn't anybody tell anybody?
Nobody would want to listen to us. They didn't believe us.
Like sitting around with grandma going, when I was in school, they told us this and they told us that, right? I mean, the World War II generation they'll tell you all about that stuff.
Right. Yep.
You're not going to tell anybody that you were taught that Earth was flat in like 1920 or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's this loss. It's this loss of information where they can sneak things in slowly over time. And as the next generation, see a generation now, they don't even know what not having the internet is like, not having cell phones is like. And it's like, I'm not that old. It wasn't that long ago. It wasn't that long ago.
Right. I was running around with a beeper. We had the payphones on the corner. Are you kidding? We played out in the woods. Yeah. We had the Atari 2600 every now and then. But I mean, we had an imagination when we were kids, and I thank God for that. That we
see now. You know how old you are. I'm Nintendo generation. You're a 2600 generation. So you're old man.
Easy, careful,
old man.
I'm 52, Max. Come on, it's relative.
Yeah, it's pretty old compared to me.
Easy.
Anyways, the internet was not a thing until really when I was about 18, because that's when I took out my first loan from the banks to go buy a computer, because I was really into that stuff. Okay. Bought my 266 megahertz K6 computer system.
Oh, wow.
And I bought the 3D accelerator to put on there.
Yeah, man.
Back when they weren't all just one video card. And it was $3,000 of 1998 money. Yeah. It would have been 1996 money. Back when money was 10 times more valuable.
No doubt.
So, and you know what I was making in 1996? Like $15 an hour.
I was going to say double, or basically what you're making now.
15. I was making 30 grand a year in 1996 money.
That's good money.
Yeah. But I'm making less now.
Yeah. Hey, you know,
Doing the same sort of thing
been
we're
there,
going to
done that.
grocery store.
Right. Yep.
Right.
You got it.
That's China. That was before China,
NAFTA and GATT. That's
where
it.
all of the goods that you buy are, 70% less than what they used to be, what they used to cost because of slave labor and
Slave
all these
wages.
things.
You got it. That's it, man.
But anyways, that was still only 20 years ago, right? That's still
Sure.
only 20 years ago. To
Only.
think
That's
that there's
yesterday for
people
me.
walking around who have no concept of what it's like not to have the internet and to like have to go out and play outside and
Yeah.
no. Not
That's
having a
sad.
phone. I mean, especially the phone thing, because the phone is like since like 2005.
Right.
So that's only been 15 years.
Sure.
Maybe even 2010 when everyone's walking around with like their
Right.
iPhone. I think that's
I had the flip
2010.
phone.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's about right.
Probably 2000. So it's been only 10 years. And look how much the people have already forgotten. People can't tell directions anymore because the car talks to them. They'll drive.
Exactly.
Your car can drive you straight off a cliff. And you'll go, well, it's not my fault. The car told me to go do that.
My dad always told me, he said, son, weaker and wiser. Just keep living, you'll see a lot.
Not to say that we have to go back to maps and stuff, but there are a lot of people that even if they get the inkling they're going the complete wrong direction, they won't question the computer.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, when you're used to being that dumbed down over time, you can't critically think. Right. Reliance. That's it, man.
You don't know any other way.
That's it.
That's the other thing as part of prepping is to learn about stuff. How about that? Build your knowledge base on things that could be useful, such as reading a map. It'll be pretty important.
Absolutely. Ham radio, shortwave communication.
Living without a phone.
Not a problem. I can throw mine away tomorrow.
Yeah.
Not a problem.
I could too, except I couldn't get into my crypto account then because they all... That's the one thing is I'm going to have to break down and get a real phone because of crypto. They all use the two-factor, two-factor authentication,
right?
And all that.
Yeah, that's a good point. That is a good point.
And all that garbage. But yeah, I mean,
well, you can get a tablet. Do the same thing. Keep your flip phone.
No, you can't actually.
Really?
I mean, I have a tablet. Maybe.
Okay. Yeah, you can do it.
There's ways around it, but it's just one of those things that's like if I have to run to Mexico real quick and I don't have my phone, I'm kind of
I thought we were going to Barbados.
I don't know. I mean, it's there's a whole bunch of ping pong balls in the little roller for the lottery. Who's taking Max? Who's the lucky country? We got some wild and crazy guys. Yeah.
Not Mad Max. He's not allowed here.
Yeah, well, I told you about my planning for the future is like, well, I got, maybe $1,000 around here to plan for the future. And it's like, either I'm going to buy a looting trailer so I can loot stuff and be able to carry it home.
I love it.
Or we're going to get a mining computer so I can mine cryptocurrency. And then I have a backup computer in case my crap goes down. I can just swap to a different computer.
Get the computer first and then.
Man, but sometimes some of these things are heavy. I mean, have you ever actually tried to take all the copper piping out of a house? I mean, that's a lot.
Yes, I have. Yeah. Rewired many houses and done some plumbing. Yes, I know what you mean.
Oh man. Especially
do it.
I mean, we got like an SUV thing, so it's not too bad, but
that's cool.
You can't really fit a dresser in there or a bed.
I can.
I don't know.
We pack stuff here in the South, man.
How many?
Pack them, and stack them.
How many? What do they call that? Bipedal predators you can fit in the back or something, right? Something like that.
That far south, man.
I don't know.
Look, hey, Eli was asking you a question.
Sure. I don't look at chat when I'm busy.
That's right.
Rambling. Where is this question?
Let's see.
At the bottom?
Yeah. If you can put it on Ledger.
Shiba Inu or Solana on Ledger. Yes, the expensive one. That's the thing.
Oh, is that right?
Yes. That's
I didn't know that.
I gotta get a hardware wallet myself, and it's like there's basically two models. You have to get a Trezor or a Ledger. You can roll the dice on some third-party crap, but Trezor and Ledger have been around for 10 years. Since Bitcoin was basically invented, these guys have been around.
Right.
And now you can buy the one that suits your needs 90%, right? With the Trezor for like $60 and the Ledger for like $30 or something. But if you want to actually get one that will support all the different cryptos and all the different things, you have to spend $190.
I didn't know that.
And it's like,
That's interesting. That's crazy.
The more you get into crypto, you have to have one. You have to have one.
You have to have money to make money.
You've got, when you're talking your portfolio is a large portion of your savings, or maybe it replaced your 401k and it's something that you're going to have for 10, 20 years, right? And you're going to be investing into, you have to have an offline wallet. It's one of those things. I mean, what else, if you didn't have an offline wallet, what are you going to have to lose in a boating accident?
You got it.
So you have to have one.
I went with a $30 program, by the way.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you're just doing Bitcoin, if you're brand new and you're just doing Bitcoin, just get the cheapie.
That's it.
Okay. And they do update these wallets to where they do add more support for more crypto.
Right.
But some of these cryptocurrencies, particularly of the privacy variety that no one knows who's buying, selling, or doing anything with it, no one knows you got it. Those ones are more complicated, and you have to get the expensive version of the wallet for that. So,
right.
And obviously, if you're on the run with your wallet, you probably want one of those kind of currencies. So that's where we're at with that. And if you run a small business, throw it on a business account. And
there you go.
There you go. That's what we're
from Max.
That's the way to go with that. As far as Solana, that's going to go on any of them, I'm sure. Shiba Inu, I don't know. I actually think Shiba, you have to spend more money.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, I haven't.
Yep.
I don't want.
It's kind of weird.
I don't want to look at all this stuff. Like it's like one of those things.
It's
what
like you do, man. Come on.
But it's just like gonna sit there, and it's like I'm not much of a trader. I'm just an investor, and it's like, come on, how much more secure is it sitting right next to me? But
right. I understand. That was me. I struggled for a while.
The thing is the most secure way to store your assets and have them reasonably available, right, is to have a hardware wallet. It's off the internet. There's no programs that can get into it. You have to authorize it by manually typing in passwords into the actual physical object. The other thing too is with them is you can have 3 different passphrases for your device. So if, for instance, you didn't want to be like a certain generation, you actually wanted to give something to your kids, you don't have to hire a big firm to handle everything. You just have your safety deposit box, and you give each child part of your seed phrase.
Right.
And with like 3 out of 5 of the seed phrases, you can open it, or with 2 out of 3 or whatever you set it to. So you can share it out where everybody has to hold hands and nobody can
dip in.
Right.
That's it.
Otherwise you end up with the wrath of God like they have in Israel for doing things like that, the shady things. But anyways, these things are built in with all sorts of everything you could possibly think of for protection. And you can even buy a little container that's a metal container for your seed phrase that's fireproof, bulletproof, kryptonite proof, whatever. And they figured out all this stuff.
Yeah.
But honestly, you can throw that thing and lose it in a boating accident, and your crypto is not gone anywhere because it all exists on the actual blockchain.
Right.
And you can retrieve it with your seed phrase. That is your wallet. And it's just
contingencies.
The best way actually is the way that I'm going to do it when I get a hardware wallet hooked up and set up is I'm going to have my portfolio that's going to have my trading stuff in it. And I'll have stuff that's on my computer for whatever, intermediary. And then I have, basically the hard wallet that's Bitcoin and Solana and stuff that I'll never sell. And that'll be that way. In any eventuality, I at least have a little bit of my money left. And so that's the best way to do it. And really, those are things you need to think about if you want to go big, go big into crypto. But if you just want to pick up, a couple $100 a Bitcoin or $1,000, just leave it on the exchange. Make life easy. Check the markets on your phone.
Set it, forget it.
And the more, but trust me, if you put Solana a month ago was $40, okay? Right now it's 170 or 180. So in 1 month, it went up 4x. So you might start into crypto saying, well, I'm just going to get, $100 of Solana or something, right? And then you look at it a month later and the things, now you've got $800 of Solana. So you started with just this tiny amount and now you actually have something and you're like, well, geez, now I have to figure out how I can secure this.
Right.
And that's what happens with Solana. I mean, I bought more than $100 worth of Solana, but you can imagine when something goes up 3, 4, 5, 6, 700%, pretty soon you have a problem. You need to actually go buy something to secure it. Kind of like the old joke goes is like when you buy something really nice, then you have to buy a really expensive dog to protect it.
That's it.
And you end up paying $2,500 for a really good German Shepherd that's all trained. Well, now the German Shepherd is the most valuable thing you own. So now you have to get something bigger and stronger and meaner to protect your German Shepherd.
H&K.
There you go. You understand the slippery slope of all of these things.
Yep. You definitely have to think ahead. Try to prepare the best you can.
Well, I mean, it's just more or less just be aware of things that, I'm always going to need food.
Yeah, that does come in handy.
Stores run clearances on things, not because the product's expired or a bad product. They just don't have shelf or somebody else bought the shelf space. Right. So they're clearancing out one item because somebody else said, I want that shelf space. And they paid the store for the shelf space. Then now we're going to clearance out this item and we're going to mark it off. I do 50% off on whatever they give me. Okay. So go in there and you get half off and look out for stuff like that. And obviously you need a looting trailer, and maybe some Sherpa to carry some stuff. I don't know. It's something.
Sure. I have a kayak and a small house. So I'm good.
Well, I do too now because I got a trailer, right?
There you go.
All the things, somebody was just left it in their backyard and I just happen to have a trailer. I don't know. I thought they were giving it away. I'm
careful.
I'm just kidding.
What is
but no, really,
about?
it was pretty close to the curb. I swear. I didn't know. So yeah, I don't know. Have you been monitoring chat at all? I haven't really been.
A little bit.
Been looking at anything.
Well,
do you want to
go ahead?
Anything you want to carry on about or bring up as a segue into something you particularly want to talk about?
No, man, just people stay in the faith. It's tough times. The Lord said we was gonna suffer here. We know about that.
Oh yeah.
Don't live your life in fear, because I've been down that road too. Just trust in Him. And look, I struggle just like anybody else daily. I stay in a lot of prayer. Everybody's going through something. If you're alive, you have a pulse, you've got a story.
Oh yeah.
You are. Period.
And everybody gets down too. I mean, it's hard not to.
Well, sure,
and all of this stuff.
Sure.
It's just don't stay there. Right.
Well, that's the key.
Yeah. Right. Just don't stay there. Everyone's go down here and think it's like, I'm always on fire and always talking about all this stuff. It's like, yeah, sometimes life sucks. It does for everybody. Yeah, I didn't get any sleep. I got to go to work and raise prices. I don't want to do that.
That's how we deal with it.
Exactly.
Let the Lord guide you. That's it, man.
And take very special note when things work out your way. When you think you get an inkling about something and you do something and you kind of take charge of your own destiny a little bit, or that might be too strong of a word with the destiny thing. But you say you do something, you get an inkling about, and it kind of works out, or something falls in your favor. Give credit where credit is due.
That's it.
You got to understand is like, oh, geez, I just remembered that I needed to do that thing, and it's like, yeah, well, somebody reminded you. I wonder who that was.
Bingo. Yeah, you can either sit and be idle and still and stagnant, or you can, be a watchman first and foremost. The Lord, we're here right now. It's like Max has said before. We got a lot of kickback on that. What do you mean the best apocalypses ever? What?
Absolutely.
Are you stupid? Sure
absolutely.
Because we are here right now for a particular reason at this
point.
Period.
And the big thing is we see the other side, right?
Big time. Oh man.
Where would you rather be right now? Would you rather
1983? preferably. But
1983.
no, seriously, right here, right now.
I think we are in 1983, aren't we?
In my
Almost
mind,
seems
I
like
am. No doubt, might as well be.
1983. No, I mean, here's the thing: is you have to look. Obviously, things are not the greatest if you want to look at the world as what's going on with the world and how things weren't the way that you thought they were going to be, and all of these things. But at the other token, it's like, would you rather be those guys that are running around with the gag and
Right.
mad about 2-year-olds not having their gag on, and who think everybody needs to be vaccinated, we need the passport, everyone needs to show their papers, we got to have the
Hey,
papers.
a
We're gonna
friend
think,
asked me, right? A good friend of mine, I was just going to say this real quick. About 6 months back, he's a real smart guy. He's taken a lot of red pills, but he's born again. That's really what it comes down to, is that's the only red pill we need to know. Bottom line, you can study the world, you can study the occult, you name it, put any name on it. I've been there. I've dedicated my whole life to looking into truth. But this friend, the way he phrased it, it was like, Jimmy, do you wish, and you've actually asked me this before, Max, if you had a choice, would you take away what you know now?
absolutely not.
No, there's no way. He says, as much grief and everything you went through. And I said, well, that's kind of the whole point. Who would I be now?
Well, I wouldn't know God, period.
That's it. That's it, man. And a lot of people can say that. I came to Christ as a child, but backslidden and knew it. Most people in the community know my story. But I got real serious about my walk about 10 years ago. Alcoholic for 6 years, all that stuff. Wasn't living right. It's like, okay, almost died. Lord got my attention. And I allow it. We allow everything that goes on.
Yeah.
And we're all here to learn, man. But look, it's like I said earlier, he did not give us a spirit of fear. And I get wrapped up just like anybody else studying these things. And I get down on it because I feel for people. It's about where you're going to spend eternity. I don't care about anything else. Cares of the world's changed me in the past 5, 6, 7 years. I can't even explain it, but I think most of y'all know exactly what I'm talking about. We're not of this place. We're just visitors.
Right.
Life's just a vapor. I get it. Do the best you can. Rely on the Lord. Study your walk. He'll guide and direct your path. That's it. He's not a liar. Men are. That's it. Show the love. Spread it. Plant a seed where you can. Be a tool for Christ. And don't worry about it. Because the world is under judgment. That's absolute fact.
Yeah.
Well, you reap what you sow. But this is what I tell people in fear around me that are studied up to a point. Is bottom line, these things are allowed to happen for God's purpose. He's in control. It's not that chess match that you see on a lot of these channels.
Oh man, the whole Jesus fighting the devil thing.
Yeah,
that's
the arm wrestling
ridiculous.
thing. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
So ridiculous.
You don't even put them close to each other. It's like, man, please. So most of us get that. God's in control ultimately. So these things have to take place. Period.
The devil is like, please, sir, may I have some more? That's the devil.
Good. That's good. Yep, that's true. Because a lot of people don't even realize, because they're not studied up. You can be born again. I get it. Just stagnant and ignorant. That's fine. We all are about a lot of things. I know I am. But here's the thing. Satan still has to go before the Lord to get permission to do anything, pretty much. So it's like, there you go.
Mm-hmm.
We get that. That's scripture. That's not me. So I don't fear it. I definitely don't fear man.
Yeah.
I'm concerned. I'm human. Sure. Again, I'm real sensitive. I don't come across that way, but I am. I was raised in a house full of women. I mean, give me a break. So what do you do with that?
Well, that explains a lot.
It really does. But, it's like I have my defenses that I put up, just like most people. But where I'm at and where I've been personally, Max, I try to help people.
Oh yeah,
and just spread the word.
That's probably the most aggravating and depressing and seriously I don't have the right word for it, but almost debilitating thing about this whole deal, to where we're like, the people that are the truthers that have known a lot about truth for a very long time have basically given up, and they're like, well, you guys chose it, and that's how you have to be, because otherwise it feels like you're kind of running on a hamster wheel.
Yeah, you got it. That was me for a long time, man.
And
I got burnt out. Right.
but maybe I'm just not getting through to them because of this or because of that, or maybe I could
Right.
try different. It's like, no, they're given over to a
Don't.
strong delusion.
You got it. Bingo. That's what I was leading up to, but that's
So,
it. You
so
said it.
Justin has a question that I sort of answered in one of my videos, and I don't remember what it's called. Otherwise, I'd state it. But the biblical question, he's just started with crypto. Are there any biblical passages about wise investing principles? Well,
Yes.
I'd say the whole Bible, because it was written by Jews, right? But beyond that, and beyond the jokes aside, off the top of my head, I always go back to when we're talking about motivational things and things that people can be doing in the kind of the times of trouble, is to, look out and try to use your talents. Okay. And that goes
Right.
back to the parable of the talents.
That's it.
And in the parable of the talents, you've got the king who's got his 3 people that are working for him, and the king says, I don't forget if he's a king or not, but he's got all this money, and he goes, you guys, you take care of the place, and I'm going to give you each a talent
Bingo.
to keep for me and grow, and then when I get back, we'll see what you got.
First
And
thing that came to my mind.
right.
Yep.
So this is essentially a metaphor of things that everyone is given, things that they can do, and you need to be
Be a good
doing
steward.
and working and being a
Right.
good steward. Right.
Right.
And you got the first guy, of course, like, he was Solana of the group, and he did 8 times. He goes, I got 8 talents back for you. And, the king says, hey, that's great. And you can kind of, here's some more, you can go play around. And then the other guy who basically doubled it, and he said, yeah, okay, well, I guess you did what you could. And then the last guy, he knew he wasn't really going to be doing much with it, so he didn't give him as much or something. But he went off and he buried it under a tree. And he comes back and he goes, look, I got exactly what you gave me, and I kept it safe for you. And it's like, dude, you could have given it to the bank, and I would have at least earned interest. Instead, you chose to waste the talent. So he took the talent from that guy and gave it to the guy who had the most talents, because he was the hardest worker and did the most with what he was given. And that's the key, because I believe they were given different amounts. And the one where he knew that probably was not capable of actually producing much, he gave the least amount.
You got it.
But that's how it is. Everybody is given talents, and you got to be, you're put here to like kind of use your talents and kind of work and find your own niche. Not necessarily to go get a government job and go sit and watch Netflix all the time. And you're like, well, I don't need to do anything because I make $5,000 an hour to watch Netflix. I don't know. I don't have to do anything. You should still be using what you're given with to the best of your ability. Absolutely. So when it comes to about investing, yes, you invest in yourself, Justin. So if you want to know about investing, that is how you do it.
I agree. Absolutely. Absolutely. It's good advice.
Yeah. And beyond that, no, the Bible and money don't generally go together.
Right.
As far as like in actually investing, is like, did Jesus say invest in Solana? No, he didn't.
Right. Because we all know prosperity can come in many forms. Money is rarely one of those things.
Right. And we talk about the root of all evil, which is true, is money. So, or the love of money.
Right. Right.
Yeah, you caught me there. So you're a good handler. No, it's true. It's the love of money. There's nothing wrong with being rich. There's nothing wrong with making an absolute killing on cryptocurrency. Right. Nothing wrong with going out and investing. And I wouldn't invest in Elon Musk, but let's just say you like Teslas. Nothing wrong with making a whole bunch of money. It's what you do with the money.
Bingo.
And how you go about getting the money and investing, and what you're actually giving back to generally in people. And that sort of a thing. That is what the deal is, because everybody in the Bible was rich, barring a couple of cases. Everybody was rich. Everybody was a king. Everybody had multiple wives. Everyone had all this stuff.
Yeah,
right?
Real wealth.
Some people lost it by the end of their story, okay, because they, frittered it away or whatever happened to it. But all these guys that were in the Bible, they're all people. They're all like big somebodies. And obviously there isn't a problem with just being successful. Even the parable of the talents speaks directly to that, because the guy who made the most in the money market was the guy who got the most at the end of the day. Right. And was even given more on top of that for making so much money.
Bingo.
Because money making was his talent. Right. So
yep.
There we go. There's a lesson for us all today. Yeah, I mean, if it's something, if you want to figure out investing, find good people who know a lot more about the stuff than you, and
Sure.
start small. Don't YOLO, that sort of thing.
Yeah. Don't make a Jimmy mistake.
Yeah.
Trial and error.
Right. And at the time, your mistake wasn't a mistake. That was a
Not really.
black swan thing too.
That's it.
That was the IMF wanted to crash it off 65 and whatever. That's just what it is.
It's just laughable at this point, isn't it?
Yeah, well, it's the only bad thing about that is losing like 3 months. But I guess every time they kick it back, it's the market is extended that much longer.
Right.
So,
right. Yeah, you're good. See where it goes. I guess that's all I've got, man.
Yeah.
I got to get up early, so I got to turn in.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been
all right.
fun. I
well,
enjoyed it.
It's all been a good talk. I don't know if we have any final questions on anything. Eli says it's important to invest how you survive in this world, both spiritually and physically. Of
Amen.
course, investing is the key. Where a lot of people, don't think about the future, and that comes down to our just-in-time supply chain. I think I might want a burrito, and you hop in your car, and there, the Taco Bell's open, and that's how people are used to living.
Sure.
And you pay three times what it's worth to buy a taco that's ready made. That's going to be poisonous to you, as opposed to just cooking up a bunch of beef and having that laying around for when you want a taco, because it's not
very true.
Investing in your health and investing in because it's more convenient, right?
You got
more convenient.
That's where they've got us.
Sure. I make a lot of money. I can pay somebody to do that for me.
You got it.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yep. School of hard knocks. Just be wise, people. Stay in the word and let the Lord guide you. Like I said, man, we know the rest of it. Let's come together when we can and uplift each other, because that's what people need. What
are your plans for 6 months? What do you think on 6 months? I put crystal ball stream because I don't know exactly what I'm going to do. We have to predict the future, otherwise I'm going to be a liar. Do you think it's going to be a zombie apocalypse with all the zombies fighting all the people with twinkle in their eye, or what?
Look, at this point, anything's possible. Who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows? An uprising, maybe. Will Satan be behind it? Sure.
They'd have to,
I don't know.
They'd have to have a shortage on McDonald's and Burger King and Little Debbie's, and then maybe
Little Debbie's. Yeah, I mean the Pop-Tart thing alone is making me.
It's about ready to snap. You gotta have the trigger locks on.
That's it, man. Now just love each other, try to help somebody.
Wonderful advice.
That's it, man. God bless everybody.
Yeah, great. That's what we got, and we'll see you next time.
Take it easy, Max.
Good night. All right. Bye.
Later.